From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Let's go! Thursday night, prime time, live edition of Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan, Corey Clark here as well in the flesh. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. All that great information at the bottom of your screen. Thumbs up, everybody. That little like button, the more the thumbs up, the more likes, the more this video is distributed to the masses, and people get to learn about how cool this show is. Corey, how many people do you think that, like our guy Ray Pereira, like, do you think Ray listens to the podcast every day, or is he just strictly like a YouTube live watcher?
I think Ray dabbles. He dabbles in the podcast. Maybe sees it. He wants to check in, see if I'm saying anything new or dumb, and same with you. And then when he sees, they're kind of saying the same stuff. The defense is terrible. Raymond Woody wagged his finger. Once he hears that, I think Ray's too busy.
Okay.
Too busy. He's got to go on to other things, make some money. So he listens to it a little bit.
Yesterday, we did the recruiting show with Michael Langston, and Ray just dropped like $20. He's like, I got a flight to catch. Can't hang around. Enjoy. Seriously. That's what he does.
Busy dude. I almost don't want to know what he does for a living. He's more mysterious that way.
Yeah. Stay behind the curtain. Stay behind the curtain. This is our show tonight. I don't know if we're always going to do it on Thursday, but obviously with the election and everything, we decided to punt till tonight. So
what good did that do? We should have done it on Tuesday night. It's election week apparently.
Yeah, it's turned into like a divorcee, like, oh, my birthday, it's a birthday week. I'm not just having one day, we're doing the whole week partying up. Buckle up on in, settle on in. We're going to start taking some phone calls here, 850-805-5911. Really not a whole lot to talk about, at least in terms of like immediate stuff that's changed at Florida State, because we had the podcast yesterday and we didn't speak to Coach Norvell here on Thursday. We're going to do over-unders, I guess, at the end of the show. Corey currently 2 up with 67% of the precincts reporting or whatever.
Okay, good.
50%, right? We're at the halfway mark of the season.
Yeah, about 55% reporting.
There we go. He's the math major. We could use you on the smart board at one of these stations or whatever. But without further ado, let's just go ahead. Let's take a phone call. It's going to be the one and only Gator Kirk, Virginia Beach, Virginia. I think he wants to talk about the defense, but not 100% sure. What's going on, Gator?
Hey, how are you doing, Aslan? How are you doing, Corey?
What's up, buddy?
Doing well.
And I enjoyed the baseball game today. I got to see the kid I know pitch, so it was very exciting to actually see someone from the 757 pitch for the Noles. So.
Were you at the baseball game?
No, I was watching online.
Oh, I didn't even know it was online. Who pitched? Who's from that area?
Cade, what's his name?
Hunter Purdue. He pitched.
Oh yeah. He threw really hard.
You were at the game, weren't you, Corey?
I couldn't hear you, Aslan.
No, I say, Corey, weren't you at the game?
I was out there for 3 hours. It ended 5-5, but really they kind of ended an inning with the bases loaded because the kids' pitch count went up. So I think they gave it maybe 8-5 was the final. But yeah, I was out there, saw a back-to-back home runs from Reese Albert and a kid who's a freshman who I can't remember his name right now. But isn't
Cade Hungate from Virginia, or is he no longer with the team?
I don't know. But the bigger news out of that is that literally I think they threw 18 kids, and 15 of them threw 91 or higher. About 5 of them threw mid-90s. They got some arms for days. Now we'll get back to the football.
Okay. All right, Gator, what's on your mind, man?
All right. So what defensive approach do you think we'll see against Pitt? Will we see first quarter versus UNC or first quarter versus Louisville?
You take this one, Corey, please.
I'm thinking more towards North Carolina. I think, number one, Pitt isn't as good as either one of those offenses, so that helps a lot. And a lot of it really does hinge on that quarterback. If the quarterback's not there, if he's not able to play and they have to go with the freshman, if Pickett's just still not quite right, I think Florida State's defense can play relatively well comparatively to what they've been. I don't expect them to pitch a shutout. I don't expect them to look dominant. I expect a few head-shaking plays. But overall, I think I don't expect Pitt to score, 3 times in 6 plays? touchdowns 3 times in 6 plays or 3 times in 8 plays like Louisville did.
I don't have much to add to that. I don't know, man. I'm scared, though. I'm not going to lie. This defense, you can't go into a game feeling confident about this defense, can you, Corey? It's a fool's errand.
No, how could anyone? That's like me being confident walking down a runway at a model show. Like that, you talk about false confidence. Good grief. No, there's no way to feel confident about what we've seen from this defense so far.
I'm trying to pull it up real quick. So bear with me here. Apparently, one of the Pitt beat writers asked Narduzzi about Kenny Pickett, who took his first serious snaps on Thursday. Wednesday, he didn't take many snaps. Thursday, all of a sudden, he looks a little bit better. Who knows? Yesterday, I was thinking Joey's the guy. Today, Kenny says, hey, coach, I feel a little bit better. So that's kind of a bummer.
Hey, you want to beat the best, though, right, Aslan? Right. If you're going to beat them, you want to beat their best.
Yeah. So what about you, Gator Kirk? What are you bracing for? You think track meet shootout, or are we going to see defensive struggle?
I no longer do score predictions since my bad mojo before. So I'm hoping for a win. That's what I'm hoping for. You never know what you're gonna get. It's like a blind date. You just never know.
That's one way to look at it. All right, Gator, we appreciate the call, man.
All right, I appreciate it. Make sure everyone you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to Warchant, support Zaxby's, and go Knowles. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Gator Kirk, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 757 in the house.
I can't imagine there's a lot of blind dates that happen anymore. Like blind dates from when I was coming up in the dating scene. I mean, you could say it's a blind date, but you've still seen a picture on Tinder. If you're told even if your friends are setting you up, like, oh, I've got this female colleague of mine who should be perfect for you. What's her name? Okay, well, let me look her up on Facebook. Instead of the friend saying, oh, she's cute, you'll love her. You get to see firsthand. Maybe she went to the beach, but either way, you get to see firsthand what you're getting into. And the same on the other token, obviously. Don't want to sound sexist. Women get to see what they're getting into as well. I would think the blind date game has gone down 99.9%. Nobody just walks into a restaurant not knowing who they're looking for anymore.
Maybe that'll be like the new thing, though, right? Because now we're overloaded with so much information before we meet somebody. Maybe there'll be like this renaissance of like, I don't want to know anything.
Maybe. I doubt that though. But it's a good comparison Gator Kirk made. It is like a blind date, pre-Facebook and pre-Twitter and pre-Tinder. You don't know what you're going to get with. Some people say a box of chocolates. Gator Kirk went with the blind date route, but you don't know what you're going to get from this Florida State defense from week to week. You know it's not going to be good. You just don't know how bad it's going to be.
But yeah, Pickett, left ankle injury. I don't know, man. That's not your plant foot as a right-handed passer. So I don't know, man. I think Narduzzi will be like, hey, man, please, Kenny, please play. Yeah. We need all the help we can get. Plus, if you're Kenny Pickett and you need tape, aren't you looking at Florida State and thinking, ooh, nice. Yeah. This will help me out.
I want to play. Yeah. If he was playing Clemson this week, that ankle would still be a little, coach, it's dicey. I don't know. I'd still catch it on me. But he's playing the Florida State defense. He's like, yeah, I feel great. I can play 100 snaps.
Hey, let's get this party started, man. Check out Redbeard, man. Let's go, Redbeard. Oh, I'm just totally terrible with the timing on this. One of these days I'll be on the spot.
Dollar bills, y'all. You know what can go wrong.
That's right. For 50 bones, Redbeard, shout out. All right, so Corey, do you think the defensive staff is buying in? Ooh, not the players. Not the players. We're not talking about the players. We're talking about the staff buying into what Fuller is doing, or is that part of the problem?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a fair question. And even if it wasn't Redbeard, I would tell you it was because of the donation, the tip. That's more than generous. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to say it each week. You're a pillar. You were up there with the greats. You know that. What Chris Marv has never worked with Adam Fuller, right?
Yep.
Had Woodson ever worked with Adam Fuller? Obviously, Odell hadn't. Papuchis had not. And you've got, Odell's been an interim head coach. Papuchis has been a DC. Marv is the best player out of that group. I don't know. That's hard to say. I don't want to say that they're not, because I could be speaking completely out of turn. They might believe wholeheartedly in what he's doing. Yeah, it's all right, buddy. It's all right. It's live. Things like that happen. You should hear all the screw ups Aslan has that we have to record over again for the podcast each week. It's crazy. It'll be a 2.5 hour ordeal to get 45 minutes. But yeah, I can't speak intelligently on that, but that is certainly a legitimate question, right?
I just don't know. Again, with the linebackers, they're limited there. I am kind of more curious about maybe the defensive backs, because I feel like that's the one underperforming position. At least the defensive line played okay-ish against Louisville. They played pretty good against North Carolina. Secondary still had some pretty big lapses against North Carolina, though. I am curious to see maybe if there's some sense of disconnect there, because TJ Rushing, they did. I mean, Fuller had worked with TJ Rushing, right? TJ Rushing was at Memphis, was he not last year?
That seems correct, yes.
Yeah, so to get a new secondary coach, and I'm pretty sure, I feel like that's what Fuller's kind of specialty is, if you will, is secondaries, the back end of your defense. So maybe there's something going on there. But that I did wonder about that like a week ago, is that, again, like you said, he's had that title of an interim coach. Papuch has been a DC at a Power 5, at two Power 5 programs. And then, Adam Fuller might not have that kind of resume, and you're struggling. So, are you telling your player? But I don't know. I mean, they're professionals, man.
I wouldn't know how would that even manifest itself? Would Papuch just go tell his DNs, look, I know what theoretically you're supposed to do on this play, but here's what you need to do. Don't listen to the call. This is what you need. This is your trigger. This is your key, not what you've been told. I don't. The same with the secondary. I don't see that happening. I would say, though, that for whatever reason, for whatever reason, and coaching could be a large part of it, the communication between the levels of the defense is non-existent. They do not work well together at all. I mean, that's obvious. Linebackers are filling the wrong gaps. Defensive ends and defensive tackles don't seem to work well together. The safeties aren't where they're supposed to be. If a linebacker vacates a window or a hole, maybe the safety's supposed to fill in and the safety's off running to who knows. So I do see that, and I don't know if that's the coaches not necessarily communicating well, but for whatever reason, it's not working right now, and the players aren't getting it done. But I would stop short of saying that the coaches, aren't buying into what Fuller is doing. He is theoretically their boss. I guess not. I wonder if Adam Fuller could fire like Papuchis. Does he have that power? Probably not, right? That's a Norvell decision, I would think.
Yeah, well, we talked about, if
he's an assistant to the regional manager. He's not the assistant regional manager. He's an assistant to the regional manager.
Exactly. Drill Sergeant Porter, who usually dabbles in on the Renegade Express. Thanks for shouting us out here on YouTube. What is all the talk with our defense being able to get things going against their offense? It doesn't matter who they have, I guess, at quarterback. Opposing teams have been able to get things going against us. Go Knowles. Yeah, man, but Pitt's backup quarterback really, really struggled against Notre Dame. Like, really, really bad.
And I compare it this way, Drill Sergeant Porter. That's a really cute dog, by the way. I assume that's yours. Maybe that's a Google image grab, but I assume that's yours. It would be weird if it wasn't. That's a really cute dog. Look at Georgia Tech. Jeff Sims is not a very good quarterback right now. He might end up being great, but he is not a good quarterback, and he was not good in that game, really. He was better than Florida State's, but that's not saying much. But I guess that's what you look at. Like, Florida State's defense did not play well in that game at all, but they still only gave up 13 points. He only I guess they had 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. I can't remember. 2 Georgia Tech had. And they missed an extra point. So that's what I would say is when you're looking at that, Jeff Sims was pedestrian at best. He gave Florida State points, or tried to anyway. And the Florida State defense still didn't play well, but when you're playing somebody that subpar, it can make a difference. If you put even Malik Cunningham on Georgia Tech's team, I think they double their score. We're not expecting a shutout, and you're right. He's still gonna. If the freshman plays, I can promise you he's gonna pass for a career high. We know that, and it's gonna be his best game. And they'll talk about how he's made this step, when in reality, he just made this step because of who he was playing. But the difference between him and Pickett probably really is the difference between a win and a loss. Like Pickett will make enough plays to win the game. The other kid will make enough plays to, I don't know, just not be terrible. In my opinion.
On the show, I thought I saw somebody here drop a little. Yeah. Shout out to CGJ0198. Doll hair. One single doll hair. Appreciate that, CGJ. I think he's a subscriber.
Hey, it all matters. It all goes into the same jar.
It does, but you know what?
That's very nice. I'm not going to poo-poo that.
How about that, Corey Clark?
Wow.
Let's go. Look at Drill Sergeant Cooper. What's going on, man?
Dollar bills, y'all.
Wait, Corey, wait. I added something new.
Big ballin', smashing, making my ends.
That's right. Good grief. $100 American dollars. Tyler Grubbs. Oh, but it's not for us. It's for the Tyler Grubbs. Come to Tallahassee.
That's a separate jar. I'm of the opinion that maybe we have a jar for all of these kids we need to get. But that'll be a separate jar, obviously. But Drill Sergeant Porter, you want to talk about a guy that gets things done. He literally had just asked, like 90 seconds before that, how do you donate money on this thing? And then all of a sudden, $100 comes raining in a minute later. So not only did he figure it out, but he came correct. That's awesome, man. Thank you very, very much. And we are doing our best with Tyler Grubbs. It's going to take all of us.
Yeah. Deadhead Josh's comments were turned off on another Tyler Grubbs video. Louisiana Tech is censoring us. Can't stop it, man. Can't stop it.
Louisiana Tech football now is appointment television. You're going to want to watch every time the Bulldogs are on TV just to see your next inside linebacker.
And hey, check it out. Here's Paul, man. Paul at Ratty. He's started this thing, I think. I think he's like he's carrying the flag into Ruston, trying to get Tyler Grubbs from the castle for us, man. So we appreciate Paul. We'll get Mick Ultra for Corey after the win on Saturday, hopefully, right?
Exactly right. And Paul, we appreciate. Yeah, the video is great. We appreciate that. He said it's gone viral. It's up to like 140 views now. It's tripled since we talked about it. So there you go. And yeah, we appreciate any donations you guys give us is more than nice, more than polite. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Let's keep things going. Let's take a phone call. We got 3 folks waiting in the queue. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and grab this one. Welcome on into a Wake Up Warchant live edition here on YouTube. Looks like this is Travis from Colorado. What's going on?
Good. How y'all doing?
Just working.
What's up,
man.
buddy?
What's going on?
First of all, I want to say thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. I actually fulfilled one of my fantasy bucket lists from 26 years where I made it to the Florida State Miami game last year. And I met y'all.
Oh yeah, at the establishment in town. Yeah, and you're the guy that looks like you work out a little bit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I spent $900 on 2 tickets. So and I thought I got had, but it turns out I didn't. So
and I just wish it had been a better game, man. That was a bummer. I'm glad that you got to come and enjoy it, and it was you got to feel the excitement for at least a few plays. What it can be, what a Florida State Miami game can be, but yeah, it was a bummer the way it turned out. And really, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but Aslan and I both lamented that was the game you would come to because we struck up a conversation with you. We really appreciated hanging out with you and all the nice things you'd said, and we were really excited for you to get to see the game, and then it was such a dud.
I really appreciated my best friend, which is the godfather of my daughter for the last 17 years. He likes Miami, and I made him listen to your podcast over and over again when you talked about me. So I really appreciate it. In fact, we were actually flying out at 5:00 in the morning to the Florida State Miami game that was supposed to take place tomorrow, but we just canceled. I mean, we were going to go to Miami, but we decided not to go.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right, man. All right.
I know everyone's talking about our defense, but I kind of want to hear 2 things I would love to hear. If we were live right now and you two were calling the national championship game, how would it sound when Kirby ran the touchdown back and Calvin Benjamin caught the touchdown pass? And Corey, would you, if your son was a 5-star recruit, would you let him come to Florida State right now as a quarterback?
Who was a quarterback? Obviously, Travis, it depends on who else is on him. Depends on what we're doing in baseball, because obviously he's going to be a prospect in both. But yeah, I would let him. I think quarterback's different. Quarterbacks are going to shine typically wherever they go, and they're going to be able to bring in receivers. So I'm all about. I would be, if he was like a DB or a linebacker, I might think about him going to another place where he can play around better people and win championships, because those are such harder positions. I mean, harder physically. But a quarterback, if you're a big-time player, you're going to play 3 years, you're going to get drafted, you're going to make us all millions of dollars. So wherever you go is fine, as long as it's not in the Sun Belt. And Aslan is the play-by-play guy when it comes to this duo. I would be the color analyst, getting excited like William Floyd in the background.
I can't complain with what Deckerhoff did. I don't think there's been anything great about the kick return, but like, did he say caught, Calvin Benjamin? Like that, that's what I would probably say. Yeah. That's all you can really say at that point. Although it was, you really couldn't tell because the way he like came down with it, and like the Chris Davis guy fell on top of him. Yeah. I feel like
and the referee waited forever. The referee waited forever till he had to go unpile it to see if it was actually a touchdown.
I would need to like pull. I would need to have it up here. I would just say,
just to hear y'all say it live would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And also, I want to say thank y'all. I had Zaxby the whole time I was out there. Of course, there's nothing like it here anywhere in Colorado.
Well, hey,
you got other things going for you in Colorado, man.
Exactly. Two things.
Thank you so much for taking my call. I appreciate y'all once again. And for everyone listening, these two guys are the real deal. They never act like they're too stuck up to talk to anybody. So thank you again.
Stop it. Thanks, Travis. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, buddy. Don't be a stranger.
I got to get my bench up. All right. Let's keep things rolling here on the program.
That's a good trip down memory lane.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, I remember just thinking, I'm like,
that was a year ago, right? Wasn't the anniversary of that game like 2 days ago?
Something like that, yeah. All right, let's keep things rolling here on the show. Let's see what we got here on YouTube. Corey, what are we doing? What is going on? What's going on, man? What are we doing? James B, welcome to the party. You get everything.
Dollar bills, y'all.
You know I can't go wrong.
James B, what's going on? 110 American doll hairs. No, but it's going to the Tyler Grubbs.
No, he didn't. He did. Yeah, he hashtagged it. Oh, boy.
Okay, all right.
That's fine. That's fine. We can split it.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks so much, man. Welcome back from the Conch Republic is what he's trying to say. Big Key West guy, James B. I am as well. Corey, congrats to your son on the baseball championship. As always, love the show.
Thank you, James B. And thank you again. I'm a broken record. I'm not going to ever take it for granted. It's awesome. It's unbelievable. Who knew this was a thing when we started this? We started it with the best intentions. It wasn't a money-making idea at all. We just wanted to get our wonderful thoughts out to you fine people. And yeah, you get to see these. Like, look at this. What a great setup I have here. I'm in front of essentially a prison window. I'm sorry, folks. The lighting isn't great because all my light, I'm not here all the time. So sometimes my light bulbs run out and I don't have any. It's pretty dark here. So I apologize for the image, but we really do appreciate it, James B. And on that, the topic of the baseball championship, how about our man Ira has to poo-poo when we played tennis the other day? He's like, so y'all had 8 guys? That's not fair. And you only took 1 out?
Well, I don't want to.
He's like, so Brady got to bat more?
I didn't like what I love Ira. I don't want to denigrate Ira. I don't like where he was coming from on that. Why can't we celebrate Brady? Why can't we celebrate the Mill Creek?
Yeah, but he was acting like we were getting over on this team by only having 8. And theoretically, it could have been that way if we had told like the worst kid on the team, look, game's been called off, don't show up. And that's why we had 8. And then but it was like it was our best pitcher and our second best player overall wasn't there. So it was a huge loss. And they still found a way, Aslan. And I looked it up. I'm not going to say the kid's name, but the kid that got the game-winning hit, I got the stats finally for the season. He was hitting 125 with a fair amount of strikeouts. He had 4 hits all season in 17 games until he got that game-winning hit. And he is a baseball fan. He loves the sport. So that's what was really cool to see. Anyway, nobody tuned in for that, but I just had to clap back at Ira a little bit for trying to take some of the joy away from that. Just a wonderful win, a gritty win.
Well, Francisco Cabrera wasn't exactly swinging the stick all that strongly in 91, so, things happen.
92, Aslan. That was 92.
Sorry. Apologize.
Sorry. James B., you're the best, buddy. You are the best.
But Ed Lamox, is Ed Lamox a pillar too?
Yo, he's definitely there.
With his super stickers, Ed, you're the man.
Big ballin', smashing, making my ends.
Dollar bills, y'all.
49.9. Ed, thanks, man. I wish I could see the super sticker. I almost want to pull up our actual YouTube feed so I can see it. Everybody that's watching the show can see it. So we appreciate it. You guys, it's more than generous. It's amazing, man. Thanks so much. But hey, let's keep talking Knowles. That's what people are here for. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's grab one. We spoke to this young man yesterday, JR in Atlanta. What's going down, JR?
What's up, Aslan? What's up, Corey? How y'all doing?
What's up, JR? How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. JR, are you
good.
in Atlanta? Are you in Atlanta? Are you in Fulton County? Like, where are you in the A? Because Corey, that's Corey's stomping ground.
Well, I normally be in Gwinnett. That's where my cousin lives. He goes to Collins Hill, but I live in Noonan, which is just south of the airport.
Okay. Yeah, that's South Atlanta. I grew up in Gwinnett. I went to a high school that's, I don't know, I would say 4 miles from Collins Hill. I grew up on Jimmy Carter Boulevard. If you're familiar with that street, that's where I grew up many moons ago.
I feel like in the lost decade, we recruited some kid from Noonan, but he ended up going to Arkansas, like a defensive lineman. But his name escapes me. I don't know if you're the recruitment guy, JR, but that's all I know from Noonan, man. But what's on your mind, man?
Okay, so with what's going on with the defense, it's been horrible for some years, and it looks like it's going to take a while for it to get fixed, probably a year or two, maybe 3 at the most. With the quarterback that we have, Travis, him doing his thing, and Chuba in the background waiting his turn patiently, do you feel like in the future for the rest of the season and next year, either one of them can lead us and be that Johnny Manziel type of dual threat, or do you think neither one of them have that type of talent?
Yeah, so you're talking about a guy that's like almost a transcendent talent that even though the Texas A&M defense back then was not good at all, they could win shootouts. And they always had that belief in him. So even though the defense won't be good, I think they still won 10 games with Manziel, maybe both years. And they had that huge comeback against Duke in that bowl game. No, I won't go that far. Number one, we haven't seen anything from Chuba. And Johnny Manziel, for all the grief he rightly got in the NFL, he was a bust, like the definition of a bust, and did not have the work ethic, nor I don't know if he had the smarts, but he certainly didn't have the work ethic to be a high-level NFL quarterback or even be a starting NFL quarterback. He was a incredible college football player, just incredible. And it wasn't just all the razzle-dazzle, run around, spin around, point, run around behind the line of scrimmage for 9 seconds and find somebody open. He made all the throws that he needed to make at that level. We have not seen that from either one of these guys. I think if you can get a quarterback, though, and we've said this before, maybe not Manziel's not a great comparison for these guys, for Purdy and Travis, but if you can get a quarterback that going in, you have a special quarterback that can get you 35 points a game. When the kickoff starts, you're probably going to get between 35 and 40 points from this quarterback. Yeah, I think it changes the way a defense plays. And I think because they know they can come back if they get down by a couple scores. And I think it changes the way the guys around him play, the belief in the whole team that they can win. I think a quarterback has that kind of impact. I really, really do. I just don't know if number one, I think this Florida State defense is worse than that A&M defense. And I don't think these quarterbacks will probably be Heisman candidates. But when you're talking about a quarterback that can change a program or win games almost by himself, quote unquote. Maybe. I mean, I think Jordan Travis has had a kind of impact like that. It's just been like a poor man's Johnny Manziel. Right, Aslan? Don't you see that, right?
Well, the first half against North Carolina was amazing. He was lights out, and then the second half he got banged up. They got a little bit conservative. But I mean, I don't know. I think you hope that first half of North Carolina is kind of what his his kind of baseline can sort of be for you kind of, week in and week out. But then he got hurt, he got banged up, they got conservative. That's kind of why I blamed the second half going awry. And then against Louisville, I mean, he was kind of betrayed with some drops. Then he got hurt in that game, and the kind of things got out of control. And the defense needs to also do their part if we want to see these guys grow, I think, JR, because the obvious passing situations, I mean, if they have to punt, God forbid, Florida State, and they can't get stops, and then that they have nothing but they have to drop back and throw the ball at times, Jordan Travis is not going to be able to kind of, thrive in that. The North Carolina game, they kept getting stops. They could be multiple. They could be unpredictable. So the defense needs to do their part to give the offense some sort of flexibility and not be predictable.
But JR is right. Like, they're not going to turn it around defensively anytime soon. Yeah. This is not something that can be turned around by next year, and they're one of the top 15 defenses in the country. To win games for the next couple of years, it's going to have to take the offense, and it will probably have to take a special player at quarterback. So in that regard, absolutely. I'm not saying absolutely they can do that, but that's how they're going to have to get to 9 wins a season, is to get exceptional quarterback play, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I know the kid coming in, Luke Altmaier, he can sling it. Yeah. I've watched his film. He can really sling it, and he can also run a little bit. So I think as long as the offense keeps progressing like they've been doing, he'll come. And then with us possibly having a actual spring next year, he's an early enrollee. I think if he gets in here and, gets a hold of the playbook early, puts on the proper weight he needs, I think he might have a chance to earn that nod versus Notre Dame next year. But I don't know. He may be the one. I mean, I would love to see the hype that Chuba came with from Arizona with the 1,000 yards rushing back-to-back years. Like, I would love to see that. But I know, with him not being an early enrollee, basically we really won't know what Travis really can do or Chuba really can do until they actually have like a spring where they're both healthy, a whole summer, learning the whole playbook and everything like that. So I don't think we'll really find out until next year at the earliest.
Yeah. All right, JR, we appreciate the call, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, eat Zaxby's, and go Noles. Let's get Pitt this weekend.
That's right. All right.
Thanks, JR. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, man, they might have if Altmaier's the real deal, you might have 3. Now, they're not all going to stay. That's just not college football in this day and age. But you might have 3 real options at quarterback next year, which would be a far cry from what you had to start this season and what you had the 3 years before that.
I don't know. I mean, that might take umbrage with it, but I think we'll know about Jordan Travis by the end of the season. I mean, if he continues to play, if he doesn't get hurt and finishes the season, I think you have a good idea of what he can be, what his ceiling can be. And if for some reason he can't finish out the season and you get to see more of Chuba, maybe he gives you an idea of how he can, transform your offense maybe. But I do think still that Jordan's limited throwing the ball. I mean, it's pretty clear at this point. Not to say that he can't get better. I think, if Chuba's able – the thing, though, is like Chuba needs the experience to get settled in to show you what he can fully do. But there's really no reason Jordan Travis has done enough to hold on to the job. There's no reason to take a chance on Chuba because Jordan's kind of limited because you know what you have in Jordan. What you have with him is the way he can run the ball and catch defenses off guard in, third and medium situations that you keep rolling with them. So – but, hey, it's a goodish problem to have. And to Ed's question on the screen, is Jordan 100% this week? I would think that probably I don't know, maybe since the Notre Dame game, it's the healthiest he's been.
Yeah, you would think he's had 2 weeks off. He said he was fine, but, again, he always does. You would think he's had a chance to heal up a little bit. What you worry about is if it's – we have no inside knowledge, but you say it's a left shoulder injury or an AC joint or something that's sore. Well, it's his left shoulder, so he doesn't throw with that. But if he lands on it, if somebody lands on him, and you can wrench those things really quickly, and that's a lot of pain. And it's just hard to run the way you want to run if you have a shoulder dangling because it hurts so much. So we'll see. I don't think he's going to be 100% until January 10th or something. Like his body, for them to move the ball, his body's going to have to take some shots.
All right. Hey, check this out, man. Redbeard, he phoned in. So
what?
Big Cities is waiting on the line. Justin, we'll get to you here in a second, but Redbeard threw money in our face, so who am I to make him wait any further? Redbeard, what's going on, man? You apparently have a real name.
Yeah, my name's Josh. What's going on, fellas?
Hey,
What's up, man? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk to you. I was listening to, not to sound like I'm cheating on you guys, but I was listening to another Noel podcast the other day, and they were talking a little bit about the players-only meeting that kind of happened. I know it's never a good sign, but they were talking about it. It sounds like it was just ridiculous what happened, and made me start thinking. I wonder what you guys think about how important it is at this point for us to get this roster flipped and move away from some of these guys that just don't seem to really be buying into what's going on right now, what Norvell is trying to accomplish. From what I hear, it sounds like that's probably one of our biggest problems at this point, and something we really need to get accomplished.
Yeah, I think that's priority one is to bring in the talent. You have to have the talent to compete for championships at Florida State. So you have to up the talent on the roster. But yeah, it's stuff like that. The personality of this roster, of this football team for the last 3 years has not been likable. There's not a lot of likable stuff that happens by and large with this football team. And it's easy to say that when they lose, but they lose a lot. And it appears that it sometimes it's like they don't know that they're losing the way they act. And it's just I know it rubs a lot of FSU fans the wrong way. And you got to get guys in that care. And culture, Aslan's ripped me for a year and a half now because I use that term so much. It's just cliche, and it is. But it's a cliche for a reason. It's the truth. Like you have to change culture. And I always go back, and I know you guys get tired of me saying this, but when you go back to the Florida State basketball program, they had to flush guys off the roster that got used to losing, that for whatever reason either weren't good enough, probably that was part of it, and didn't care enough. That was probably part of it. They weren't playing up to what Leonard Hamilton's standards had been set in the previous recruiting classes. Well, they got those guys off the roster, and now they have a brand new player. When you watch the Florida State basketball team in 2015, it was one of the least likable teams you would ever see, maybe 16 too. Now you watch them, and it's like you're as proud of them as you would be of your own children, because they enjoy each other so much and they cheer for each other so much, and that's the culture that's been created. And that's talent helps, obviously, but they have to buy into that, or they don't play, or they don't even come. And I think that's one of the things Norvell has to get across to the players he's recruiting is this is what we're not entitled. You can't be entitled. I make you get up at 6 a.m. to go practice football. Maybe that shouldn't be mentioned in the recruiting spiel either. Because if you're Aslan, if you were 18 and you were a safety, a hard-hitting safety from Tampa, and Clemson, Florida State, and Florida were all on you, and you found out you think you're going to college, you finally got freedom. You don't have to get up at 6 o'clock to go to high school. You can get up at 10. Yeah. And then you're told, no, actually you have to get up at 6 because we practice at 7:30, and then we have classes all day after that, and then film study. You might not go to Florida State. Right, yeah, he's thumbs down. It's a podcast too, Aslan.
That's the best part of college, was making your own schedule.
Yes, to the point, Josh / Redbeard, I do think that's part of you've got to get the cancer is much too strong. I'm not using that word because that's the word I want to use. Whatever a less form of cancer is, but when you hear about cancers on a team, teams get so much better when you cut them off, when you cut the tumors out. And again, that's way too strong because I don't know that any of these kids are bad kids, but it feels like sometimes it's a mindset that is hard. It's hard to overcome. There might be 60 kids that are doing it the exact right way that believe wholeheartedly in the message. But if a third of the roster doesn't, then you have a problem. You have an issue. And I think that's still something that Norvell is fighting. And if he gets 75 or 80 guys on this roster that are all pushing in the same direction, man, I'm using all the cliches. If they're all pushing in the same direction, I think there's that's one of the main priorities other than the talent.
On the point,
I
though,
agree. And
go ahead, Josh.
Sorry, I was going to say I agree. I think from what I hear, it was the whole point of the meeting was incredibly, frivolous. It was over having to work or practice on the weekend, and that kind of mindset to me just doesn't sound like it's something that's going to fit into what Norvell's trying to do. And the quicker we can get away from that, the better off this team will be.
And don't you think some of that, though, is some of these guys were recruited by Jimbo? Maybe they signed with Willie, but Jimbo was their initial recruiter. And then they went through the 2 years of Willie, and then they start this season losing to Georgia Tech and getting smashed by Miami. It's a COVID season anyway. And I don't think many of us can blame them for having what's the point of that attitude? What's the point of this attitude? We're 2-4. What's the point of this? Well, they didn't come to Florida State to go 2-4 or to go 8. So I can get why the mindset might be more of well, what's in this for me? Why are we even doing this? We're not winning any championships. So why is the point of what's this point? I can understand a mindset like that to an extent because of what these guys have been through. Well, Stephen Dix hasn't been through this. Stephen Dix still wants to get better, still wants to learn, presumably, still wants to be awesome. So these other guys that have lived it, that are all 21 years old and have lived through all this, yeah, they just have a different perspective on college football and on Florida State football than a Stephen Dix or a DJ Lundy or whoever else.
And to the point, real quick, of the players only meeting, I don't know if you're a subscriber, Redbeard, but there's somebody that's been sharing information about the team on Warchant, on the tribal council, and his stuff checks out pretty accurately. But according to him, they've been having a couple of these meetings, so that it wasn't like a real earth-shattering development. And it was mainly like offensive players kind of talking about frustration with not playing the best they could against Louisville. So I don't know how much of this we don't want to practice kind of thing is going on, but the person, the insider who posted the information that's been able to check out Warchant said that it's a team that still does have confidence in their head coach. So I wouldn't take it too much as like a doom and gloom thing. I take it with a grain of salt. I think these things kind of sometimes – the legend sounds better than the reality, so people run with the legend on it. So,
but there's always a little bit when you're a losing program. There's always a bit of addition by subtraction, and that will happen next year. You are going to get some players off this roster, and it's going to be a boost for your program. Hate to be that blunt about it, but it's the truth.
All right, Josh.
One more real quick thing. Sorry,
you're good, man. You're good.
So do you think that's why it's more important for us to leave a little more room on the team for the transfer portal to kind of turn this roster and, fill those gaps and get the players in here that are going to buy into what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go to the portal. You got to get some better players on this team. The whole churning through a roster, flipping your roster. I don't know how many malcontents there really are on this team. Because the guys who are starting and playing a lot, you hear Norvell and the staff saying good things about them. Like, we don't like the way that Leonard Warner is playing, but Adam Fuller likes the way that Leonard Warner's given effort in practice. Mike Norvell likes the way he's given effort in games. They're talking up Emmett Rice. People don't seem to like the way he's been playing. I mean, we're not hearing a lot of good things about maybe Janaris Robinson lately, but they're still talking about Marvin playing well. But yeah, I don't know how practical it is to want to get all these guys out. I think ultimately a true spring to demonstrate to these guys what they need to do to be a success. I think these guys will buy in. They came to Florida State to win games. Nobody came to Florida State for it to be easy. They want to see success, but I think if Norvell can string together a couple more wins coming out of this season, you give them a full spring to demonstrate to these guys and show the progress they've made. I think, some of these malcontents they're not too far removed, and they have, they're pretty athletically gifted. So, I'm not going to lose hope on a whole bunch of guys, but yeah, they're going to lose dudes and whatever.
They could turn it. Hey, some of those guys could turn it around. And obviously we know Grubbs, you're definitely saving a spot for Grubbs in the linebacking core. And then you just build from there. I think he's the guy. He's going to be the spark. He's going to be the powder keg where once the other transfers from around the country hear about Grubbs. Wait, Grubbs is going there? That's when you're going to see it's going to be like a waterfall. So hold on, Josh. Hold on, buddy.
All right, man.
That'll be my breaking point of whether or not I buy season tickets. Wait.
That's right. Yeah. Tyler Grubbs, he's going to be on the front of he's going to be on the season tickets.
He's headed for a Wheaties box. All right, guys.
That's right.
Thanks for your time. And eat Zaxby's, hit the like button, and subscribe to Warchant.
That's right, man. Hey, thanks again for the
Thank you very much, Josh. Josh is the truth.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I like him listening to other podcasts, but I'm going to let that slide.
Yeah, man.
I understand.
Shout out Joseph Arnold. $10 in the tip jar. You get a little sauce. Tells us to earn it every day, even with my shirts. This is like,
we're wearing a similar style shirt, right? It's a couple buttons, collared, but I got an undershirt underneath. Aslan shows it all. You do it too. And I appreciate that. I don't know what Joseph's talking about. But Joseph, we appreciate the money, man. We appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much.
Oh, man. Always something here. I got to find a question for you to take over with, Corey, because our call just dropped out. I don't know. I think you still might be able to hear me right now.
I can hear you.
Justin in Lake City. Justin in Lake City has been holding on for 35 minutes. But I think my phone line has dropped out, so I gotta dial it back in and get us on here. But in the meantime, again, thanks to our guy here, even though he doesn't like my shirts. Thanks to Joseph. The Don has arrived. Mr. Actually, where is he at? There he is. Ray Pereira's in the house. You were worried? Don't be scared. Ray's here. Ray's here. It's a new one for you, Ray.
Big ball and smashing, making my ends.
Okay. Corey, over under Pitt scores 35.
Under. Ooh, but that's tough, Ray. It's a good number. I'm so down on this defense that I got to say under. Come on, man. Come on. Hold them to some field goals at least. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say somewhere in the high 20s is where they finish up. And we'll see if that's enough or not.
Ray, thanks, man. Thanks so much.
Nothing else we can say, Ray. You're the bet. You're the he's the OG, right? I think him and James B have been given big numbers for the longest. Redbeard, Ed Lamox, they're all coming in. They're all. It's like a squadron now.
And Willie Johnson, man, who dropped I think 150 bones yesterday on the Langston show. He's all about Langston, which is fine. It's fine.
Hey, that's cool, man. We all have our own. We all have our quirks.
We'll funnel some of that money to the Tyler Grubbs Foundation.
Yeah.
It's all good. Here's our fisherman galore, Robert
Rainey too, man. Yeah.
There we go. You get a little sauce.
Dollar bills, y'all.
All right. Somebody asked me a question, or Corey a question, so I can mute myself and then get the phone line back up and running, so we can get our guy from Lake City here on the show.
Robert says change back to the old uniforms. Those recruited better. I agree 100% with that. That old logo went out a champion, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. Maybe bring that back just for a game, just for one special game.
I think in the only 2 games that Florida State has won this season, they've won traditional uniforms, like white top, gold pants. Well, that's been garnet tops, gold pants at home.
Yeah, that's what you do.
I'm over Garnet and Garnet. I'm so over Garnet and Garnet.
It had its moment. It had its day, didn't it?
They keep losing in them. I'm over it. I
take Garnet over black.
Yes, barely though. Barely.
Oh boy, no. Garnet and Garnet. I don't mind the look. It's just the way they play.
Gator Kirk, I will not play the air horn because you don't like the air horn, but
big ball and smashing, making my ends.
$13. We appreciate it, Corey.
Yes, sir, Gator.
Feel free to go on a heater on this one. How are the Gulls going to do this weekend? Go Noles. And again, explain Gulls and where it came from and what it means.
Okay. Well, first off, it's the semantics here, but it's the Gull. It's the Gull backfield. I guess we can short it to the Gulls to pluralize it. But it's Lawrence Toafili and LaDamian Webb. I said that in the wrong order. It's Webb and Toafili, Webb toes. A seagull has web toes. So that's why we go with the seagull backfield and shorten to the Gull backfield or the Gull. But Gulls works too. Now they're going to be known by that duo. They're the Gulls. And this will be, I envision in a couple of years, Grubbs is up for the Butkus, obviously, at Florida State. Maybe the entire Gull backfield is up for ACC Player of the Year. They're both having great years. And they'll have to talk about this nickname and how it came to be. And then I get my 15 minutes of fame on ESPN with Tom Rinaldi playing the piano next to me, trying to make me cry about my son or something, just how much I love him. But that's where the Gulls come from. Our Gull is the seagull. Seagull has web toes, Webb, Toafili. I would like to see Toafili more involved. I'll be honest with you, Gator Kirk. I like that guy. He's got some juice. And I like LaDamian Webb a lot too, but I would like to see them starting incorporating Toafili a little bit more into the offense, where he gets, instead of 2 or 3 touches a game, I guess he got more at the end of the Louisville game, but until that point, when he was playing with Purdy, he had 2 or 3 touches. Get him 10 to 12, even if it's throwing him the ball at wide receiver. Was that enough?
If Ray's the Don, then I'm the consigliere.
Consigliere.
Yeah, there's you guys got each, you got your each territory. You both got, you're each a Don, you're a capo or whatever,
Yeah, consigliere. I wouldn't even put you. You got your own family. I think they're both Dons. They got their own crime syndicates.
All right, people want to keep. He's been waiting on the line for 40 minutes. Let's get Justin from Lake City in on the show. Sorry about the long wait, Justin. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Super productive today.
Nice.
How y'all doing?
Good.
What's up, Justin? Doing well, buddy.
All right, man. I'm pretty sure Corey does the same thing. I lay my head down on the pillow every night and just wonder why this defense is so bad.
Justin, we don't deserve this, man. We don't deserve this.
I get it. I know. Stress about it every day. I've been stressing out for 3 or 4 years now, but just mainly had like a 2 or 3 part question concerning defensive changes and just like kind of scheme. I mean, I understand Fuller runs that base 4-3 and he wants to run it majority of the snaps, but I mean, just seeing what it's 2020 and all these teams run the spread offense, 3 or 4 receiver sets. I just don't understand why he doesn't employ the 5th DB more. Like, I watch all these other teams play, and they run in 4-2-5 nickel 80-90% of the snaps. And, I mean, we in North Carolina game, we did that, and that was our best defensive showing yet. But then he wants to revert back to that in Louisville game where you run more 4-3, taking Gainer off the field. I mean, taking a DB off the field and putting Gainer on the field on 2nd and 24, and next thing you know, 70-yard touchdown with Luke Atwell. I just don't understand that. Just maybe Jaden would be switching to the stud. Maybe a more linebacker / safety might be better than the Gainer. Maybe having Gainer move inside a linebacker, maybe taking some of the Dick snaps where at Fox or something. So I'll start right there.
I don't know, man. I feel like they've been playing 2 linebackers primarily. I feel like it's been mainly Emmett Rice out there, or
Well, but he's right. Like Gainer played 9 or 11 snaps against North Carolina, which they played. That was the best they played defensively, and that almost makes it sound like it's Amari Gainer's fault. Like, I think you need to figure out a way to get Amari Gainer on the field, make him be one of your 2 linebackers, but he should be on the field more, in my opinion, more than Steven Dix. But have him in a role where he can be in a 5-2, as opposed to, okay, if we're going to go to a 5-2, like, remember, I'm not saying Kirk Herbstreit knows everything, but when they played Miami, he said Amari Gainer is the best player they have on the defense. And right now and that, what game is that, Aslan?
That's a Louisville game. Yeah,
so Amari Gainer graded out the best against Louisville, but fat good it did if the other 2 guys weren't doing anything. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe against Louisville, they were obviously worried about Hawkins and trying to contain him, but that didn't work out. Not if those guys, if the extra linebacker doesn't know what he's doing or can't cover anyone in space, it defeats the purpose, obviously. And so, I think we'll see, man. Again, they've had 2 weeks. We'll see what kind of adjustments they've made. I feel like it's odd that they kind of went against what they did against North Carolina and switched it up a little bit against Louisville like that, where Gainer literally played 4 times as many snaps as he did in the North Carolina game. And again, it's not like Gainer's playing poorly, but if that's his role and you're taking him off the field, I feel like these 2 weeks you need to figure out what you're going to do with Amari Gainer, in my opinion. Not that matters, but not that means that I shouldn't say that. Not that it will make this a huge difference. But Amari Gainer is a guy, I feel like he's a guy you can build on. He's a guy that's physical, pretty fast, can make plays in space a little bit. I can maybe come off the edge. You got to figure out something to do with Amari Gainer. Jade Large would be, man, I just don't know, man. I'm kind of to the point with him where until I see something, I'm just going to assume he's going to be average to below average until he makes whatever role he's in, until he makes another step. I can tell you this, though, he definitely doesn't need to be playing safety if they have better options there. If I get what you're saying, moving closer to the line of scrimmage, that's probably where he can perform the best. But I still don't think he's going to be great in that role either. But prove me wrong, Jaden. Prove me wrong, buddy.
Yeah, I agree.
Aslan, do you have anything to say?
I just feel like they do.
I don't know.
Yeah,
defense, man. I'm just sell out with the front 4. Like, the front 4 has to figure something out. They've got to just. I hope that this bye week they at least sold out to one thing, like we're just going to stop the run. Although Pitt's run game is so bad, they might not have to completely do that. Just at least do one thing well. They can't rush the passer well. They can't stop the run well. They're not covering that well. They're not blitzing well. They're not disguising things all that well. Like, just I hope in the 2 weeks they've had to prepare for this game, just figure out one thing to build off of and maybe just do that well for the rest of the season, because all these games that are coming up, they're not playing anybody amazing. NC State's not going to be amazing with Bailey Hockman. Virginia's not amazing, although they beat North Carolina too. Just do one thing well. I'm setting a very low bar. That's all I really have to say about
that. They're not going to do one thing well. That's not in them.
But one thing decent-ish.
I was going to say, just don't do one thing terribly.
Yeah.
Figure out something you're not terrible at and build from there. But that's all I got, Justin. I think personnel moves matter. I'm not dismissing that. I think you're so far late in the game that it's not going to turn around this season. You just hope it looks a little bit better the last month of the season. It gives you some sort of confidence going into next season. That's all you can hope for. And get some guys some valuable reps, I guess.
That's what I'm hoping for.
All right, Justin, anything else for us?
Nah, man, that sounds good. I'm just ready to see the game and see how it plays out. Y'all have a good one. Don't forget to like.
That's right.
And share. All right, y'all take care.
Thank you, man. Justin from Lake City in the house, man. Appreciate the call. Let's keep it rolling on the phone lines. Let's go down to Napoli, Naples, Florida. We got Mark, a pillar of the program. What's going on, Mark? How are you, man?
Hey, boys. Sorry for the late entry. Aslan, much like you, we have a wedding going on this weekend, so I had to kind of break free from the crowd.
Nice.
And make sure I called into the show. So thanks for taking my call.
Keeping it real. Where were you at for the wedding, man?
It's a local wedding down here. It was supposed to be in Chicago, but it was moved down to Naples for a lot of obvious reasons, and where my wife is heavily involved, which means that I'm involved.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Of course, absolutely.
Well, hope it goes well, man. I love weddings. Weddings are the best, man. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed Key West and went to Blue Heaven, man. That was a good spot, right?
Fantastic call. I'm telling you, like the groom, who's my friend, his mom is like the ultimate planner, and she had an itinerary set for the whole week. And Saturday was like a group brunch. I was flying out that day, but she set the group brunch at Blue Heaven, so she knows her stuff. And I went on Friday. It was delicious. It was great. Very good call. Listen to Mark. Everybody knows what he's talking about.
All right, well, guys. I don't want to talk about the defense. It's ad nauseum at this point, and the wide receivers, we well know they need to get better. But my thought is on quarterback strategy the rest of the year is pretty simple. You let Travis play with reckless abandon. The kid plays hard, fights for every yard. And if he gets banged up, you put in Chuba, worst case, get some invaluable experience. Run the same offense, and I just think that's a pretty good, because the rest of the season, let's face it, it's a sort of a glorified scrimmage. I mean, we want to win the games, but it's the winnable games on the schedule are what they are. Just let Travis does what he does. Chuba get in with some series to take some pressure off Travis and the hard-nosed style he plays with. I mean, do you think that's the best strategy? Because I kind of see it that way, because we need some really solid leadership at quarterback going into 2021, and the defense hopefully will improve. But that's kind of my question tonight: is do you think that's a good strategy to go with the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm sold. I like it. I know they want Jordan to play safe and preserve his body, but almost at this point, it's like, just go, man, and then hopefully Chuba works. Or is that too reckless?
Yeah, no. If you're not going to move the ball well enough and win games if Jordan Travis isn't playing like Jordan Travis. He needs to play all out, balls out, as some would say. He needs to go out there and play at the requisite pace in just the way he normally plays. He has to do that. Otherwise, he's not as effective, nearly as effective. What are we going to sit back and have him drop or like take a knee after a 3-yard gain? I mean, he's got to get first downs and on the running, and he's not going to be able to just sit back there and dink and dime people down the field. So, yeah, I think that's the only strategy to have. Jordan Travis is your guy as long as he's healthy, I think, or if he starts to struggle. If either of those two happen, though, it's got to be Chuba because the offense now is this offense. It's not the offense that we saw against Georgia Tech. It is transitioned into this. It is much better because they have a running quarterback and a guy that can make things happen with his feet. I don't know that Chuba is that good a runner, but I know he's a good enough runner, and I think maybe he's a better thrower. We'll see. He could be a better thrower. So, yeah, do that offense. And obviously you tweak some things that Chuba can do better, or maybe Chuba doesn't do as well. You make some tweaks in the offense, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Travis is 1, Chuba is 2. And it might be that way for 2 years. I don't know, but that's definitely how it needs to be for the next 5 games.
I agree. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better. And I like your theory.
No,
I've been seeing you on the boards, Mark. I've been seeing you trying to evangelize this sort of thought process on Jordan the quarterbacks, and I think you're on the right track for sure, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's only going to be a sophomore coming back again next year with no loss of eligibility, and maybe in the spring over some time he learns how to be a more effective passer. And the kid we know is super special with his legs. Not Peter Work, Corey, but maybe
yes.
And sorry. And it's fun to watch when he's playing with he's making blocks downfield. I mean, he's a football player like LaDamian Webb. I mean, let's keep it going.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Appreciate it, man. Are you going to be able to watch the game, or are you going to be at the wedding?
Oh my gosh, the wedding's like at 5:30, and the game is at 4. So I'm going to be that dude in the corner screaming it from my phone. And you know what? So be it. That's what I'm going to do. If people aren't happy about it, then whatever.
Yeah.
And hopefully the wedding only takes like 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If the wedding only takes 20 minutes, then the reception, I don't think anybody gives you grief. If you're at a reception watching a football game, you're out there rubbing elbows and having fun. You got to be there to watch her throw the bouquet? You go watch the end of the game.
No one's gonna miss me. It's just like you said. It's just you just got to do what you got to do. It's a Saturday in November. So
that's right. Mad AMCZ from warchant.com travel council. Mark, thanks for the call, man. Have a great time at the wedding.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
He said he loves us.
The feeling is mutual.
Wedding, man.
Ditto, Mark. Ditto.
All right. We're winding down. Time to go to over-unders, Corey. Let's get right to it. These all come from the Williams Sportsbook, Tallahassee, Florida. Biggest, brightest televisions, coldest beers in town. First one on the over-under, 42.5 rushing yards for LaDamian Webb. Pitt with the number 1 rushing defense in the nation, Corey Clark. Over under 42.5 rushing yards, LaDamian Webb.
Over.
That's a really low number. It
is. I know they're good, but that is a really low number.
No new plays, just doing what we can do right. I mean, you pop off a 30-yard gainer, and then even if you commiserate and just piddle all over yourself, you'll probably get another 15. I too will take the over. By the way, Corey is +2 on the year. He's up 2. I got to make up some ground. Jordan Travis completion percentage 55.5.
Over.
Oh.
I think I'm taking Dillingham at his word that they're going to get him more in the quick passing game, give him some easy throws, and I'm going to expect Florida State not to drop all of them this time. I'm going to expect the receivers and running backs to not drop all of them, so I'm going to say over 55%.
Yeah, that's a low number too. I got to start shading you here a little bit, but I agree with the over on that. Ontario Pokey Wilson catches 3.5. I'm thinking Terry's coming back. I'm gonna take the under.
3.5. He did Pokey again. The Pokey number he's riding that one all year. I'm gonna say over.
Okay.
I think they're gonna try to confuse Pitt. I think they're gonna believe in their receivers in this man-to-man coverage, and they're gonna take some shots. And I think Pokey's gonna have 4 for 71.
All right, I like it. Florida State drop passes. This stat will be kept by Pro Football Focus. Drop passes 1.5. Corey, over under.
Under. Under. Maybe that was just an anomaly out there at Louisville. Now, drop means an actual drop, not one they should have caught but didn't. I have a higher bar than what Pro Football Focus does. But we're talking about a straight up like Keyshawn Helton drop. Not like a Warren Thompson, how about going and making a play? But he was defended. We're talking about an actual drop.
I don't know, whatever. It's Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, I'm still saying under.
Yeah, I agree. I think it hasn't been widespread. It was just a really bad game, and everybody got involved in it. This is also going to be one that we're going to do every year, or every week rather. Sacks. Florida State sacks on the Pitt quarterbacks, 2.5.
Under. Even if it's Pickett hobbling around on one ankle. I'm saying under. They got to prove me wrong. If they prove me wrong, I'll start making adjustments to how I do this.
I'm going to say over. They're at home. It's Pitt. Maybe it's Joey Yellen. He's been sacked. He was sacked like 5 times. And I got to shade you a little bit just so I can catch up. I don't believe it, but I'll say the over.
Okay.
Last one, total points scored, the official number, 50. Over under, Corey.
Over.
Like 24. What'd you say?
Over. I'm looking something to like 30-27 or something. 30-24.
I wanted to say like 24-14, but Florida State's not going to hold anybody to 14 points.
Nope.
I mean, North Carolina got 28. North Carolina is much better than Pitt. Maybe if they play spirited at home.
Yeah, but they missed some field goals. They dropped some passes. They probably should have had 35 or 38.
Yeah, 50's low. I mean, you win 31. I'll say 31-20 Florida State. So I'll take the over.
Okay, we're both on the over.
All right, so I've only shaded you on the sacks on the North Carolina quarterbacks. All right, that's a wrap for us tonight and on the show. Do check us out here on YouTube on Warchant TV. 10 a.m. is the pregame show with Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang, and then 10 minutes following the game, post-game show, the same very call-in number, 850-805-5911 with Gene Williams and Tom Lang. So, Corey, you working on anything for the site on Friday? You just getting ready for Saturday and for the Renaissance?
Just girding myself. I'm just girding myself for Saturday. I'm sure I'll write something. Tune in and find out, guys. Get on that site and find out.
That's how it works. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching us tonight. Thanks for hitting the thumbs up button. A shout out to Gator Kirk, Ray Pereira, Robert Rainey, Joseph Arnold, Ed Lamox, James B. out in Pensacola, Paul Atratty, Drill Sergeant Porter, CGJ0198, and Redbeard for all throwing some tips our way. It's much appreciated, never required. Just thanks so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good.